I'm going to try to get through this video without screaming at any point. That's all I feel I want to do right now, and that's all I feel I wanted to do last night. But I'm going to try to get through this calmly and rationally. Okay, this game started off pretty much exactly how any Canes fan wanted. They controlled play, good first period, just like Game 3 against Boston. Williams scores a goal. And it feels like this game's going to kind of swing to the Canes. And it looks like this is a series that's going to go 7 games. And oh my God, look, Jordan Martinook coming down the wing, shoots the frickin' puck. And Grzelcyk deflects his stick, but somehow it gets past Talak. And it's 2-0 Canes. And this looks like, okay, well, the Canes are just going to kind of work this one through and win the game. And then Niederreiter gets this great pass over to Nietzsche, and I thought it was all the ice quality conditions, and I'm sorry, I'm staring off into a computer screen on my right side, but I thought this pass was going to be perfect, and Nietzsche just turns out he just fluffs. He just misses the puck. It's fine, though. It's a 2-goal lead. The Canes enter the third, 2-0, and why can't they pull this off? They're a good defensive team. Why can't they just, shut it down and win the game? I mean, while this was going on, I was getting prepped for work this morning. So I went and brushed my teeth and got ready for bed. And in the midst of doing that and looking over at the television, I noticed Jake DeBrusk on a weird play where Fleury gets completely walked. And Reimer comes out kind of like he's playing like Mrazek. And okay, I'm not going to fault Reimer on this one. I think you can. I think people will probably fault him for it. Maybe it wasn't the right play, but probably 9 times out of 10, that's a play that Reimer gets. I'm saying if he did it 9 times out of 10, I don't think Reimer's done this even 5 times in his career. But how do you blame Reimer for playing that play properly? He came out, he took away the lane, he tripped DeBrusk up. All DeBrusk did was pull off an incredible maneuver and shoot the puck while he was in midair like Bobby frickin' Orr. But again, it's 2-1. There's not a momentum swing here. Everything looks fine. It just looks like the Bruins have come out hot to start the third period, which, by the way, they've done constantly in this series. And then it kind of set in. Like a couple minutes later, they can't get the frickin' puck out. They can't do anything. They can't get the puck. They're just sitting there. There's nobody pressing the point. Nobody's paying attention to anything besides the frickin' black rubberized disc. Connor Clifton walks up, a nice pass from behind the net. I don't even know who the frig passed it. I don't care. 2-2. Okay, the Clifton shot was nice. I'll give him that one. But again, in my mind, as I'm watching this, and as somebody who needs to go to bed very shortly because I got to be up for work in the morning, I'm going, well, overtime. Great. I have to go to bed. It is what it is, but at least, hey, they still got a chance to win the game. There still doesn't really seem to be a momentum swing here. And then minutes, seconds later, it felt like, here's Brad Marchand on a breakaway. How did he get in? And why is Justin Williams the only one giving a shit? Okay, I'm going to pull it back. I don't want to scream. Okay, what the hell is Jacob Slavin doing on this play? Who skates this casually back in a play like this at this time of this game? Now, keep in mind, all this happened. Brendamore had already took his timeout, so there's no reprieve here unless Reimer gets pulled, which, hey, in hindsight, might have been a great idea just to throw Mrazek in there and scream at the players if you're Rod Brendamore. But before any sort of thinking about a play like that or a decision like that happens, oh my God, here's Jake DeBrusk below the goal line. Nobody gives a crap, and there's Slavin again being completely out of position, not covering his position. Why is he in the corner? And it's not Nietzsche's guy to get. So Slavin, again, what are you doing? Jake DeBrusk, who had the goal earlier in the period that started all this crap, gets goal number 4, and at that point I knew that there's no coming back for this team. I'm not even going to consider the goal at the end from Teravainen to be anything. It didn't give me any hope because I knew this team wasn't getting anything toward the end. I mean, seriously, they pulled Reimer out of the net after the Teravainen goal, and the best chance they could muster while having a 6-5 advantage in skaters was a pass into the feet of Sebastian Aho that he proceeded to kick at the net. Now, let's ignore the fact for a second that there's probably about 3 other plays you could have made on that play if you're Teravainen. Hey, there's 40 seconds left. You probably could have spun back out and tried something else. But the best play that they generated during all of this was a pass to somebody who proceeded to kick the puck that wouldn't have counted. And I know you may be thinking, oh, well, Aho's just kicking it towards the net to try to get somebody else to skate onto it and put their stick there. Well, nobody else on this team was even close to the net or doing anything this whole game, except for apparently Justin Williams, who was the only one who cared. And speaking of caring, oh, by the way, the captain got nailed by Charlie McAvoy on one of the cleanest, biggest hits I've ever seen. And nobody did anything. There wasn't a response at all. From any... Okay, I'm about to start screaming. There wasn't a response to that hit. Like, okay, the McAvoy hit. Clean as a whistle. It's perfect. Stahl should not have put himself in that situation to begin with. But how did nothing in this game even wake this team up in the third period? Their shot totals, they got completely dominated. There were so many times where they got walked by the Bruins' fourth line. I mean, Chris Wagner is... What is going on with this team right now? So a 4-3 loss that on paper looks a whole lot better than what actually transpired in this game. I'm going to try to be calm and be positive heading into this next one. Now look, I'm also going to preface this. I've been a Canes fan for a year. I'm a little bit upset. I have to feel like every other fan of this team that's been around for years, anybody who's been with this team for 2 decades plus is probably so much more unhappy about this than I am. And they definitely have every right to be because they've been around this longer than I have. But man, this one just... Ugh. I don't even know what to unpack in this one first. I don't even know what to talk about. Maybe we'll talk about Stahl. So first, Stahl puts himself in that position for that hit on McAvoy, and that was probably the biggest turning point of this game. The tweet here from Alex O'Hari at Future Canes. When Jordan Stahl got crushed right in front of the team's bench and nobody did anything about it, the game was already over despite what the score was. And look, I don't disagree with Alex on that one. I would have absolutely loved to see some sort of response, and playing the game with the Bruins of physicality and grittiness is probably a losing cause. At some point, you have to respond in some way. Now, I would prefer them just to start playing their game. This is what's so frustrating about what happened here, is that we know this team is better than this. We know they're better than the Bruins. If you look top to bottom on this team, they are a better team than the Bruins. But the Bruins just know how to play this game. And they know how to play it well, and they know how to play to frickin' win. Now, speaking to that feeling of complete frustration, knowing what this team is, here's a great quote after the game from Coach Rod Brendamore from Chip Alexander on Twitter. Brendamore's point was a good one. It's tough for anyone who has followed this team to see it come completely unglued. Even tougher on the head coach. Not sure I would even practice tomorrow other than a light skate. Just tell him to buckle up and go to war on Wednesday. And I think Chip makes a great point with that tweet there. It's not totally RBA's post-game comments there, but this was frustrating as a fan, because we know if you're a Carolina Hurricanes fan, you've followed the team all season, you know exactly what this team is capable of. This is a team that was able to hold Tampa to no shots in a period, the reigning 62-win champions of the frickin' league. But the complete feeling of dread that overcame this team is something completely new, and something I don't think we'd ever experienced with this team in the regular season or in the Rangers series or in games 1, 2, and 3 of this series. No matter what, they've always competed, and this was one time where they got dominated, and instead of figuring it out, or instead of, putting their heads down and getting to work, they just decided to fold. And we could talk about the goals all we want, but these goals weren't good goals in this game. You could probably argue that Williams' goal is the most earned goal in this game, but if you're talking about goals that are earned, man, the Martinek goal is a deflection from a defensive stick on his shot. It's what handcuffed Halak. And the Teravainen goal at the end took like 3 crazy bounces. These aren't good goals. You're not beating a goaltender. You're just managing to get some screwy little play to get through them. And the last point I want to go about what Chip said on that tweet there that you guys just saw, the practice thing. Yeah, I wouldn't run these guys into the ground. They're going to need every bit of energy on Wednesday to play the game at 4 p.m. And you know what? other than talking to them, do a light skate, you know, keep it light, let them know who they are. Other than that, what can you do? Let this team that's been good all year, that's had really just one bad stretch all year, show you what they are. Because we as Canes fans know what this team is. We know how good they can be. We're missing 3 key players right now, potentially. Jordan Stahl did practice today, so that looks like he will be back in the lineup for game number 5. But losing Svechnikov, and one of the biggest ones was Edmondson. First off, I didn't even realize Edmondson was injured. I didn't know how he got injured or what happened there. That seemed to just be completely under the radar. Of course, he wasn't in the game for game 4. But Edmondson is a guy who was on the St. Louis Blues that beat this Boston Bruins team last year in the Stanley Cup final. He's a physical and defensive player that arguably the team needs the most at right now. I feel like my brain's just shutting down on me after a day of work and trying to not do this so angrily. But look, I'm not going to get into any of the other quotes from Willie or Martinook or really even touch on any more comments from Rod Brendamore. I don't think Rod should be blaming himself for this one. It was the guys on the ice that ultimately controlled this game, and no matter what he did, nothing was going to change this. This team gave up, plain and simple. The team watched its captain get absolutely decimated in front of their own bench and did nothing. They sat back the whole third period while the Bruins just completely shoved every bit of strategy down their throat. The arguable best defensive player on the team, Jacob Slavin, was giving up on multiple occasions tonight. I say tonight, I mean last night. It all feels like one day to me. But the message is clear: win and win now. There's no other option. They can't go in and be frustrated and lose. They have to get back to being what makes them good. And what's unfortunate, I think, is the biggest. It seems that the Canes are having such a rough time adjusting to the Bruins. And the Bruins are doing very simple things, and it's what's frustrating them the most. The Bruins are playing a defensive scheme that's not anything new. It's not crazy. It's not innovative. They're outnumbering the puck carrier, and they're sitting in front of him waiting to take the puck. I compared this in a tweet to your older brother just like putting his hand on your forehead as you swing wildly at him and you can't reach. They just sit around you and make you make the mistake. It's brilliant because it's so simplistic and it works so well. I don't know what the game plan for game 5 has to be. I don't know what to expect because this team hasn't really given us a ton of evidence to know what to expect. But for all the stuff I said on Twitter and the simple anger, the emotion that was coming out of me last night, I still do believe in this team. I think it's a long shot that they can manage to pull off 3 straight wins against a team like the Boston Bruins. But at the end of the day, it's not something that's impossible, and it's not something that this group can't do. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Click like if you liked the video, click subscribe if you really liked it and want more content. Check out some of the other content around the channel. And as always, let's go Canes. I will see you guys after game 5, win or lose.